What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today's episode is going to be a little bit different from my usual one-topic episode. Today's called Word on the Street. So I'm going to do a couple different topics and talk about everything that's been going on in the news and in the culture, just to be a little bit more relevant and talk about things as they're happening in real time. So before I get started, as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you check out episode 15 as well. I'm still doing a drawing for 2 winners to receive a $25 Visa gift card. So make sure you check out episode 15 and wait till the end to find out how you can be one of 2 winners. So the first thing I want to talk about is the untimely death of rapper and businessman Nipsey Hussle. Now I have to admit that I wasn't a huge Nipsey fan. It wasn't that I disliked him, I just didn't happen to listen to his music. I didn't listen to him until Victory Lap came out last year, and I honestly think that was possibly rap album of 2018. But for me, it was always what I knew he was doing in the neighborhood, what I knew he was doing for, LA and Crenshaw. He owned the Marathon Clothing where he was shot in front of. He actually owned that entire plaza as well. He had a STEM program in Crenshaw called Vector 90 for, I think, for high school children. He had plans to meet with the LAPD just the day after he ended up dying to talk about how they can reduce crime and reduce crime in the area. And he also had a plan to make low-income housing in the area as well, where the Marathon Clothing store was. So for me, his passing was just seeing another leader, somebody doing positive for the black community being taken. And one thing I do want to address and apologize for was my first initial reaction was that this could have been some type of government conspiracy, which is what a lot of us first ran to. So that was wrong of myself and a lot of other people, all of us, for that being our immediate reaction. But I think the reason why we had that natural inclination to turn to that being the only option is because a lot of times when we see our black leaders doing the right things, oftentimes there's an untimely death. Whether you look at a Martin Luther King, a Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, too often we see the black leaders in our community lives being taken before they even could really reach the peak of their activism and all the change that they wanted to make. So I think we saw this as possibly another martyr. But honestly, now as it comes out, now that we know who it was that actually killed Nipsey, it's just another example of this crabs in the barrel mentality that too many black people have. Oftentimes our enemies are a lot closer than we think, and oftentimes they actually, they look like us, if we're going to be honest about it. So, and we can see now there's this picture circulating where you can see the shooter in a group photo with Nipsey. So that just shows you that proximity truly is normally the answer when it comes to black people losing their lives. But the thing that we have to learn from this is that we have to see each other as allies instead of adversaries. The crabs in the barrel mentality, it's got to stop. It's got to end. It's something that has been ingrained in us, and we got to move past it because, we can't. I don't know what's it going to take for people to realize that we're playing a part in our own oppression when it's us taking out our own leaders. Like, Nipsey was a good dude, and I think that's why so many people are saying that his death hit a little harder, hit a little different. Because it definitely did for me. Like I said, I didn't really listen to his music, so it wasn't like I was some super fan of Nipsey. I can't name another Nipsey song other than something from Victory Lap. That's how honest I'll be about it. But it was, again, all the work that I knew he was doing, which is why his death hit, as hard as it did. I mean, the night that the news came out and everything, I remember just, almost coming into tears real quick, and then just, when we first heard that he just got shot, and I was just like, damn, that's, hoping he pulls through. And then 20, 30 minutes later, we hear that he passes, tears come to my eyes again, and I'm just thinking like, it's the same cycle of black bodies being wasted without regard. And it's something that we gotta address, and it's something that we need to mend, and we need to change as soon as possible. But one thing I do want to make clear is that I don't want people to look at Nipsey's death as the reason why we stop giving back and we stop reinvesting in the neighborhood. We got to keep buying the block. We got to keep reinvesting in the neighborhood. We got to keep going back and try to spread these positive messages of black wealth. And I think this might discourage a lot of people and make a lot of people more apprehensive about trying to do good in low-income neighborhoods and where education is subpar and things like that. But if anything, this should inspire us even more. We got to go harder for Nipsey, and we can't let his death be in vain, because there's a lot that he was trying to teach us, and there was a lot of work that he was doing, and so we just got to continue that. I said on social media that we can say pray for Nipsey and pray for Lauren and pray for his children and all that, but it's not really going to mean anything unless we put some work behind it. So all the things that he was preaching to us about, how to become wealthy and how to become successful and get yourself out of whatever current state you're in, now we got to go do that. We got to put the action behind the words. So we can't just keep posting rest in peace and all these tribute videos. We got to do something about it. His death can't be in vain. We gotta actually do the work instead of just talking about how much we miss him. And we gotta show that his death will actually inspire us instead of discouraging us from trying to help other black people. One last thing on Nipsey, I just want to say rest in peace to him. My heart goes out to Lauren London and his children and all his family and loved ones, the people close to him. He's something that I inspire to be like, as far as his philanthropy and activism and all of his giving back, and the way he bought the block and giving back to the area that he came out of. And I hope that his death inspires other black people to try to do the same, to try to do the work to better the communities that they come out of and to better themselves. He'll go down in history for the things he did, not just his music, but the impact that he's had on his community, and that he'll continue to have after his death. And also, I hope that black people who are in bad situations, as far as income and their housing situations, people like the man who killed Nipsey, I hope that we stop redistributing that hate and that pain into the communities and into the people who look just like us, because there's enough mounted against us. We already have enough enemies in this country as it is. So the last thing we need is for our enemies to continue to look like us. So recently, the latest on Jussie Smollett and his whole MAGA hat wearing, bleach toting, noose tying, hate crime scenario is that all the charges have been dropped against him. I think I'm kind of over this story, honestly. When it first came out, I was upset, and I was riding with him, supporting him, because to me it wasn't too far-fetched that something like this would happen. We've seen, if a guy can send bombs to Democratic politicians in the name of Donald Trump, to me this wasn't too far-fetched. So, at first, initially, I was with him, wanted to support him and all that, because it was a hate crime, things like that. But, then we find out that he paid these guys off, and then you see the footage of these two Nigerian guys buying the ski masks and the MAGA hats and things like that. So it comes to find out that, it didn't really go down the way he says. He's fabricating it all, and that possibly this could all be due to him being upset about his current status on the show Empire. I guess he isn't satisfied with what he's getting paid, or I don't know, something about his current status with the show. So, like I said, I think I'm kind of over this. I'm not entirely upset that the charges have been dropped against him, because to be honest, how many times have we seen white men do much worse and get off? You know what I mean? So I'm not going to be too mad that a black man gets off for just simply telling a lie, when there's plenty of cops who get off for killing black people who are unarmed in the streets and do plenty of other egregious things and don't see a day inside a prison cell. So I don't want to spend too much time. I don't think any of us should spend too much time on this whole Jussie Smollett thing. I think it's time to move on from it. I'm not that upset by it. I think it was wrong that he weaponized things like his blackness and his homosexuality as a means to get some attention. I definitely think that's wrong. And it's something he shouldn't do. He used his own blackness to get the support of people who look like him, which I think is just cheap and pathetic and wrong of him. But, you know, we're talking about a victimless crime here. You know, he told a lie. And, you know, Chicago PD and the entire city definitely probably spent resources to look into this and all that. So, you know, if it comes down to him paying some type of fine and community service or whatever, I wouldn't have no issue with that. But to me, it's not that big a deal. There's bigger fish to fry. I definitely think he should probably give a public apology especially to all the people in the city of Chicago, all the black people whose sons, daughters, sisters, cousins, friends who have been gunned down in the streets of Chicago. So for him to play on his blackness, again, like I said, to play on that because he knows it'll get some notoriety, he knows it'll get attention in the news, I think that he needs to apologize for that. He needs to come out and publicly apologize. But as far as, you know, him getting off and, you know, probably not getting any charges, you know, I really don't have that much of an issue with it because, again, there's bigger fish to fry. There's more important things that we could be thinking about, talking about, worrying about. So I think it's time that we just move on from Jussie Smollett. So recently, Cardi B came under fire for this video that resurfaced of her where she talks about how she had to drug men and take their money and rob them, you know, just so she can get money to, you know, make ends meet or whatever. And a lot of people were talking about hashtag mute Cardi B or hashtag surviving Cardi B. And I definitely think it's wrong. It's severely immoral for her to have been drugging people. But the way that I have to look at it, me being a criminal justice major in college, I kind of use my criminal justice glasses. That's the perspective that I look at it with. So to me, if you as an adult knowingly and willingly engage in prostitution, which is an illegal act, anything that happens to you while engaging in that illegal act, while you partake in that illegal act, is merely just a circumstance of you knowingly and willingly and voluntarily engaging in this illegal act. So, you know, if a drug dealer is standing on a corner waiting for customers and he's got his drug money on him and he's got, you know, his drugs on him as well, and another drug dealer comes up and robs him, mugs him on the street, you know, takes his product and takes all his money, is that drug dealer who just got mugged gonna go to the police and say, yo, somebody just mugged me for all my money and all my drugs? No, because you're partaking in an illegal act knowingly and willingly and, you know, at your own will. So how can you complain? You agreed to engage in something that you know is outside of the law and is dangerous. So I really don't think there's a stance for somebody to complain when you agree to pay a prostitute for sex and then she drugs you. Because again, to me, all of that is just a circumstance of what you knowingly, willingly, and voluntarily agreed to engage in. Now, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm making excuses for Cardi B because I've been critical of her in the past. So there isn't some type of favoritism or double standard, you know, because, oh, if a man did it, then I get that too. But there's no favoritism as far as Cardi B. I've been critical of her in prior videos for other things. So it's not like, you know, I'm just making an excuse for somebody that I like. And I honestly don't dislike her either, but that's just the way I look at it. If you agree to do something illegal and something bad happens to you during that, you don't have much to stand on. If you agree to go, if you say you and 3 people go agree to rob a bank, and then during the bank robbery, one guy turns on all of you and takes all the money and shoots all of you, and you survive the shooting, are you gonna then go to the police and be like, yo, he owes me, you know, 50 grand for my cut on the bank robbery? No, because you agreed to engage in something illegal. You know what I mean? That's just the way I look at it. So you don't have a leg to stand on when you're doing things outside of the law and then something else illegal happens to you. It's merely a symptom of what you agreed to get yourself involved with. So that's all I got today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, but I'm curious about you guys' thoughts. So down in the comments, let me know what you think about Cardi B in this video that's resurfaced about her, or resurfaced of her, and let me know how you feel about the whole her drugging man that solicited her for prostitution and things like that. I'm really curious as to what you guys are thinking about it. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video at the end. Make sure you're checking out episode 15 to see how you can become one of 2 winners of a Visa gift card. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.